So the original plan for Battlefield 6 was to have open weapons with all classes. Basically what that means is that any class can use any kind of weapon. So Assault could use a sniper rifle if they want to, Recon could use an LMG, and so on. Now it was never like this before Battlefield 2042. Prior to that game, classes had locked weapons, so Assault could use assault rifles, Engineer could use SMGs, Support could use LMGs, and Recon could use sniper rifles. And then there were some weapon types that everyone could use, like shotguns and DMRs. People generally didn't really like the change to open weapons in 2042, so there was backlash against it coming back in Battlefield 6. And the developers basically turned around and said, okay, well, we'll have two separate playlists, open weapons and closed weapons, which they tried out in the beta. So what this means is you can choose to matchmake the classic version of Battlefield, which has the locked weapon types, or an open playlist where anyone can use any weapon they want, which sounds good on paper. But this is basically splitting the player base. And I'll be honest, it's mostly the hardcore loyal Battlefield fans that want closed weapons. More casual players probably won't care about this, and most will probably go with the open weapon playlist without even thinking about it. But the truth is, open weapons kind of goes against Battlefield's identity. Now, DICE and the other Battlefield studios have done a really good job with Battlefield 6. It is really good. The beta was really enjoyable. And you can definitely feel the Battlefield 3 and 4 inspirations, which is a good thing. But having open weapons and classes, it really does go against the core design of Battlefield. And like Jack Frags has said, flip-flopping between, having open and closed playlists and trying to please everyone shows a lack of commitment to their design choice. Now, they really should just pick one and stick with it, and personally, I think that should be closed weapons. The vast majority of people who've been playing Battlefield for a long time would agree with that. There will be newer Battlefield players who probably disagree, especially people who are coming over from Call of Duty, but I promise you, locked classes is the way Battlefield is meant to be played. I played the beta myself, and I've seen footage from Battlefield Labs of snipers who can sit up on a crane and then pull out a javelin or an RPG. Having open classes allows players to just basically fulfill multiple roles in one, and that's just not the way Battlefield is meant to be designed. You have a squad with different roles for a reason. If you can be effective against infantry at long range and also effective against vehicles, you're essentially a one-man army, you're a lone wolf, and there's not much point in being in a squad at that point. Another example of why it goes against the design philosophy of Battlefield is, for example, they've taken the deployment beacon, which is a gadget that allows you to deploy on a location that you choose. They've taken that away from Recon, it used to be in Recon, and they've moved it onto Assault. Now, I think that's a good change because it makes Assault more proactive in getting the team into an objective. But another reason they've taken it away from Recon is because Recon players used to put the deployment beacon up in a mountain somewhere and then just deploy there so they could snipe people from miles away, and it kind of takes them out the action, and they wanted to avoid that. Now, that's a good change. But the problem now is that Assault players, if they want, can have the deployment beacon and just equip a sniper rifle anyway. So what's the point? So this choice to have open weapons basically circumnavigates any other design choice that they can make around gadgets and classes. Engineers are usually locked to SMGs traditionally in Battlefield games because their main role is anti-vehicle and supporting friendly vehicles, and they can, they have a short-range weapon in a pinch against infantry. But now you could have an engineer that's going to sit on a mountain with a sniper rifle and then also use a javelin against tanks from miles away and just fulfill multiple roles. Now, in past Battlefield games, like Battlefield 4, for example, you could have a Recon player and an engineer working together because the Recon player can tag enemy vehicles with a soft lam, and then the engineer can hit them with a javelin. And if you allow players to just have both capabilities on one class, then you're taking away from that teamwork. DICE need to make a decision and choose whether they're going to go with open or closed weapons. Personally, I think they should stick with the traditional class roles and closed weapons, but let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like and follow. That really helps me out.